So let's chat. We're going to learn a little bit. I think we're going to learn a little bit. Maybe some of us, like me, might need a little more education. Nancy Davidson, Empowerment Pathways, life coach, life and business coach.
Life and business.
So what does a life and business coach do? Don't tell me coaching.
No coaching at all. Yeah, so life and business coach. So on the life side of it is I help people that are struggling on a day-to-day, could be in relationships, anxiety, depression, and or even a career change. So anything that has to do on a personal level of any struggles that you have in life, that is what a life coach does.
So you help deal with struggling people.
I do.
Interesting. So what kind of struggles would you be talking about?
So lately, I will tell you statistically what I've seen this year, there's a lot of people that want to do a career change.
Wow, okay.
Even people that have graduated from college, not knowing where to go, not knowing what they want to do after they graduated college.
So how do you help somebody with that?
So I analyze them first.
Okay.
Figure out like what's your passion? The most important thing is at any job or career, you have to love what you do.
Okay.
So regardless if you have a degree, what did you go to college for and what are you passionate about? So if you went to college, you want to be an attorney or a lawyer, you already know what you want to do. But if you're going to college just to get a degree and you really don't know what you want to do, that's where the confusion comes in.
Do most people go to college for that purpose, just trying to and don't know what they want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do they still, 100 years ago when I was in school, they used to I think it was the Marine Corps, might have been some branch of the military, would always come in and they would do these assessment tests.
Yes.
They don't do that in school anymore, do they?
No, but I'm glad that you brought up the assessment test because that's what I give my clients. So when a client hires me, I give them 2 assessment tests.
Okay.
And it's the Colby test. It's not a test, assessment. And then the Clifton Strengths.
Clifton Strengths. Okay.
Yes. So basically what these 2 assessments help you with is to identify who you are as a person. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what career best fits you? But
what happens when you find that, when you go and you say, okay, the best career that fits me is, I don't know, let's just say plumber. Okay. But my mind says I want to go be a financial advisor.
Well, then you have to know what you're passionate about. So if your mind is saying you want to be a financial advisor, most likely you're going to be passionate about that than to be a plumber.
Okay. Interesting. Because and I'm just using somebody that I know that they kind of cross, right? So they want to be a financial advisor, but they're not very good at test taking, and every prerequisite seems to flop, but they've got abilities in other areas too.
Well, going into it is testing. So if they're not a good test taker,
right?
Do you think that's a belief or a fact? It's your belief.
Well, that one, so far, it's proven to be a fact.
Wow.
Sometimes you get to be, they prove themselves, right? When you go and take enough tests and it doesn't work.
So, but if you're going into it thinking, you know what, I am not a good test taker, most likely you're not going to do well on that test because you're already focusing on, I am not going to do well on that test.
So you got to change the mindset.
That's one of the things we're going to talk about is mindset.
Okay.
100%.
So the mindset is where the issue comes in, and you have to have. That's where you need a coach.
Yes. So, and that's the other thing I help my clients with is your mindset. Your mind controls everything. If you are fearing that you don't have enough money in your bank account, or you're fearing that I'm going to get
my wife says I don't have enough money in my bank account for her shopping habits. Or is that a different subject?
That's a different subject.
Okay.
And so when you focus on that, you have this fear factor. So what your thoughts, what you think happens.
So it's kind of the self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yes. Yes. And so, a lot of my clients and when people come to me, they have the self-confidence issue too.
Ah,
They
okay.
don't have that self-confidence. They worry, they fear, they feel they're just not good enough. And you really have to focus on changing your mindset, because your mindset is your frequency of what you think about. So what you think about will occur. So you have to really train your mind that when you have that fear factor in your head and you're worrying, you have to remove it. Don't listen to that little self-talk. Get it removed and focus on the positive thinking.
So are you going to remove it or are you going to divert it?
You're going to remove it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we're going to talk more about this because I still need a lot of help.
Yes.
Chatting this morning, Nancy Davidson is with us, Empowerment Pathways. You've got a fan here, Nancy. I'm seeing that Sheena Marie loves Nancy.
All
Okay.
right. Hi,
Nice.
Sheena.
Okay, so we got a shout out for Sheena. Love Fest going on here. So let's chat more about this stuff that I know nothing about.
Yes, you do.
So life coaching. Now, we talked the last segment about life coaching. If you missed it, shame on you.
Yes.
You should have been here, because now we're going to talk about the business coaching side. Let's get into that side and tell me what you're doing in business coaching.
So I'll tell you a little bit background on myself.
Okay.
As you know, been in the
I've only known you a day or two.
So I've been in the mortgage banking industry for 36 years.
Started at 3.
I know. It's an old fart. So during the times that I was been in this industry, I've worked all positions, right? And management has been my passion, and I love helping people, coach them, mentor them. And in the last 27 years, I've been in the senior vice president, COO position. And what I've learned is culture is number one within a business. And it starts from the top. There are a lot of companies that don't follow. They may have a culture, but they don't follow that culture. And it's an extension of executives to management. However they are to their employees and to the organization is how it will trickle down to employees.
So give me an example of what would be culture.
Culture is looking at taking care of their people, having them, making sure that their employees feel empowered, that they feel fulfilled, that they want to wake up in the morning and want to go to work. And if you don't ask your employees if they feel empowered or fulfilled, and if they're excited to wake up in the morning and come to work, you should ask them that question. Because if they're not, that's something that you need to look into within your organization and find out why. It's very powerful.
So when you talk about business coaching, so you're just dealing with the executive level then?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're gonna, and it's not that, does this correlate at all with the financial success of the company?
Yes.
Absolutely. It does. Okay.
Absolutely. So what I do within the businesses is I work with the owners and executives, and I find out where their strengths and their weaknesses are. And then I will really dive into every aspect of the company. And then I will give them a report of, this is what you currently have going on in your organization from top to bottom. And this is these are my suggestions of how we should make some changes. Now, not going in and changing the world, is every organization, I believe, should have a coach, because they're looking from the outside looking in, just like as an individual.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, is how often is the management's perspective of what they believe is happening the same or differ from what the rank and file?
They're different. And as an example, one of the companies I worked for as a COO, I was very passionate about getting a coach and hiring a coach from the outside. And I did. And we worked with just our executive unit, the owner included, and our executive team. And we had meetings twice a month. And it was powerful because we've got to learn how we collaborate with one another. right? Sometimes not all managers and executives see eye to eye, right?
Yeah, that's
Majority of the
a
time
lot
they
of time.
don't.
And that's always bad, though, is it?
No, not at all. But sometimes when you have the head buddy going on, it's not good for the organization.
That makes sense.
Right? So then
Headbutt behind closed doors.
yeah, it's
right?
true, because you and I, you can may be a sales manager and I'm a COO, and we may like each other, but we don't agree. And then we have our differences and we walk away from a meeting not resolving anything. And then what ends up happening? Then you end up talking to the owner, and the owner's talking to this person and that person, and there's talk, and then it just goes down the wrong path. So making sure that everyone is on the same page is crucial.
So it almost sounds like you're an arbitrator.
No, kind of, no, but no, not really.
Like you're listening to what each side has to say, and then trying to coach them back to being on the same page.
And then what we do is, once you do the executive coaching, then you trickle that down to employees for one-on-one coaching or team coaching. I do team coaching as well.
Wow. Okay. So that's a lot of stuff in there.
It is, but I don't overthink it.
How'd you switch over from being in the mortgage world for 35 years to coaching?
Great question. Thank you for asking that question. So I started coaching in 2019 as a roundtable meeting with just women.
Okay.
And executive women, different types of industries. And it was quite powerful. It was emotional and it was powerful. So during that time,
I was going to say something here. Women and emotional,
nice.
That's surprising.
I did. I also have my own podcast, and one of my episodes was talking about your character and emotions, how emotions really can take over your life.
Okay.
Right. So I know we're kind of going off to the side.
That's okay. We can do that.
Getting back
it's the fun part of being the host. You get to go whatever rabbit trail we want to.
Go left, go right. So the reason why I decided to do this full time, I stepped out of the mortgage industry. So I did work for...
Stepped out of the mortgage industry when rates doubled. Jeez, isn't that surprising?
I know. It's such a roller coaster, right? But you know what? I love challenge. So last year, my husband and I and my family, we were going to move to Tennessee.
Oh, you're going to move back to America.
Oh, Tennessee is beautiful. For anybody who has never been there, go to Tennessee. And so we were going to move out of state, and I was working for a phenomenal company. Loved them, great people, great owners. And so we were going to move. And then with the rates going up and things going, we just didn't know one day to the next. I was laid off, and I've never been in this situation. But I have to say that I was very grateful that I was. Even though we didn't move to Tennessee, I was okay, because I'm a believer of things happen for a reason.
Sure.
And I'm not shy about saying I was laid off. It was okay. It was laid off. They took care of me, gave me a nice severance package. I told my husband, he's like, honey, you need to do your passion. You've been wanting to do coaching. You did it in 2019. Why not do it now? So I went full force. I hired a coach. I even have my own personal and business coach, Nicole Jensen. She is phenomenal. And so I hired her, and she helped me build my business. So then I have a whiteboard, have goals that I want to achieve. And I'm a very goal and driven woman. So I decided that I'm going to launch my business. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm in the process of writing a book.
Making lemonade out of lemons.
Yes.
Great information. We continue our conversation this morning. We are chatting with Nancy Davidson, Empowerment Pathways, life and business coaches, and now podcaster.
Yes.
What's your podcast?
At Empower with Nancy. So I'm on Spotify and Apple.
Okay. At Empower with Nancy.
Yeah, it's just Empower with Nancy.
It's really creative. You're about as creative as I am.
No. You have to be creative. But you know what? You just have to have fun. Be yourself. Just have fun.
What am I going to learn if I listen to the podcast?
you're going to learn all kinds of things. So my podcast isn't just about one specific thing.
Okay.
It's your self-confidence, your limiting beliefs, I talk about business, and I talk about life coaching. And I already have two people that were guests on my podcast, Justin Breen and Doreen Rivers, Dr. Doreen Rivers. And so I have about 4 other guests coming on that just really educating people.
It's fun when you get to just go out and do a program that's just about education, not expecting anything in return.
Right. It's so what I've learned over the years, I'm literally passionate about paying forward. Right.
Okay.
And I'm constantly, everybody, education is key. Reading, listening to podcasts really, truly helps you. That's what I've done over the many, many years, because you don't, first of all, I like challenge and I like to learn. So if you don't like to learn, try to pick up a book that interests you, and then it takes off from there.
So when you're talking about doing business coaching, do the same principles apply to all businesses, or do you focus just on specific markets when you're doing business coaching?
No, it's any business. It doesn't mean because I've had the banking and finance background. It's any business. Any business should have the same follow through. That doesn't mean that I'm going to coach and every business is different. Is I go in with the same strategy and I work with that strategy with every business.
Wow. So it applies cross platforms.
Absolutely.
Interesting. So and it kind of ties into what we said. I don't know what we were talking about a few days ago, when the CEO of, and again, I don't remember which way it went, but it was the individual went either from Nabisco to IBM or IBM to Nabisco.
It's all the same.
And the CEO of they're completely different industries.
There is. Mm-hmm.
But the principles of managing people, I guess, is the
same. Bingo.
So yes. It's all about understanding that portion of it.
Absolutely. It's communication and understanding people.
Well, the communication is probably the biggest issue, then I would think.
100%.
Interesting. So what are some of the biggest roadblocks you see people have right now?
So lately it's been, people are so stressed out. And why do you think that they're stressed?
Turn on the TV.
There you go.
That's all it takes.
There you go. We're constantly living in our phones. We look at reels. We look at, other people's profile that, oh my goodness, they're living a better life than I'm living, and I want to get what they have, or I want to have what they have.
Is that about as stupid as it could possibly be?
But you know what, Ron? Everyone focuses on the negative in people's lives. They don't see the positive.
Well, do they focus on the negative in people's lives, or do they focus on the negative in their life? And because one of the things I chuckle about,
Both.
Yeah, I kind of chuckle because you'll see people on social media and they're sharing that they're at this great restaurant or this great destination or this beach or going to a ball game or going to a concert, and it all looks fun and glamorous. No one really focuses on, I just got a speeding ticket, or I got a flat tire, or I got in an argument with my child. That stuff doesn't make social media. Real life,
it doesn't. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because that is what I'm about. When I post content, it's content. When I do a reel and I do a story, I'm myself. When I'm coaching somebody, I am myself. I don't portray someone that I'm not. So I will say things. I'll talk about some of the challenges that I've gone through, because people need to understand who I am, right? Good, bad, or ugly.
It's hard to value somebody
mm-hmm.
if you don't connect, or you don't believe that they're real, if they're not authentic.
Right. The other thing I tell my clients is, I cannot tell you what to do, but I will guide you and I will mentor you. I will put you under my wing and I will help you as much as I can. But do not hire me as if you are not fully dedicated on making a change in your life.
That's the big issue right there, isn't it?
Yes.
How do we reach you?
I am all over social media at Empower with Nancy on Instagram. My website is Empower with Nancy. Everything's Empower with Nancy.
Power with Nancy all over. Okay, great information. And if you're not in a place where you can write this down, you do know my number. I'm here every day at this time, so you can call me. I can put you in touch with Nancy Davidson. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much